Madeline. Just making sure. Where should I sit? You can, wherever you're comfortable. So, I'm Marissa.
Hi.
Do you prefer Madeline or Maddie?
I prefer Maddie.
Okay. So, Maddie, what brings you in today?
I'm just going through like a lot of life changes right now. And I've been like really overwhelmed and not like really sure how to deal with it. So I've been like in a more depressive mood lately than normal.
So, what kind of life changes are you going through?
Well, for one, like me and my boyfriend just broke up recently, and we were together for 14 months. So it's been like a struggle, like adapting to that. And I also just got a new job recently, which is nice, but like it's still change, and I don't do well with change, especially like multiple changes all at once. So it's kind of like throwing me into like a messy situation. So I've just been trying to like cope with everything and not been doing a great job at it. So
Yeah. So I'm just gonna take a few notes just so I don't forget anything, and
Okay.
I'll share them with you at the end.
Okay.
So the breakup with your boyfriend, was it bad? Was it civil?
it was definitely civil. I mean, he's great. Like I never have anything bad to say about him. It was just like a lot of like petty arguments, and I felt like he's just a very judgmental person, and like I don't do well with that, especially if it's not like if the judgment that's being placed isn't there's a word for it that I can't think of. Like if it's critical and not like it's not gonna help me essentially.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
You're good.
I feel like I have to restart my. Okay. Okay. So like when you say judgmental about like what?
I don't know, it was just like little mannerisms that I have that like previously I like other people that I've been in relationships with, they've either found it endearing or they didn't have a problem with it. Like just like little things, like how I eat, for instance. Like he would get annoyed with me for how I ate. Like just like little things like that. That was just like I don't know. It would just like come at like my self-esteem essentially.
Yeah.
Because then I had to be like really conscious of like how I ate whenever I was around him, and like just ridiculous things like that. And it just like started to like build to the point where like he would say something like small and I would like cry just because like I just felt like completely like judged, and like he would make comments about my house whenever he came over, like if things weren't spotless, and like he just had no filter whatsoever. And like he's a great person, don't get me wrong, but like compatibility wise it just like wasn't happening.
Yeah. So it was just it was like the little things that he would like pick at, and it just kept building up, and I guess you both, since you said it was civil, so I guess you both kind of just decided that it would be best to.
Yeah, more or less. I kind of was the one to like initiate it, but he was like in agreement, and like the breakup itself was really rough, and we like talked for like 3-4 hours, and like him leaving my house was like really difficult because we kind of like both knew it was like like our goodbye, I guess.
Yeah, like
so
the last time you were to see him.
So it was like really like hard, and like I was like hysterical when he like finally left. But since then like I haven't cried much about it. It's just been more so like trying to accept the reality of like things being different.
Yeah, like finding things to fill your time with when you
Exactly.
would usually be seeing him or talking to him. And
Right. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's definitely difficult to deal with in the beginning, but it's also good that you guys were able to talk about everything so that there was no confusion. confusion, and it's also good that you were able to get closure.
Yeah.
So how recent was this breakup?
Like a month ago.
Okay, so it's been a little bit of time. Did you start your new job yet?
So I started home cases because, like, what I do is I work with kids who have autism either in the school setting or home setting, and I started my home cases last week. And, like, I'm very uncomfortable with, like, going into other people's homes, so it was, like, a little rough just for my own, like, mental state, but I start, like, full-time with them next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many cases do you have currently?
Right now, just one. It's been kind of messy because I actually am in graduate school and I am scheduled to do practicum come spring. And when they offered me full time, I told them that, and they essentially said that I might just have to like be a permanent sub rather than have cases. So that means like new school, new client every day, call at 6 a.m., tell me where to go, and like I really value structure, and that's like totally unstructured. It's like I wake up every day not knowing how my day is gonna go, so I'm like really worried about that. But the good news is actually like right before I came here, I did get a message from one of the people who work at the new company saying that they think they could actually work around it and give me a permanent case, so that would be like awesome. So we'll see.
that is good. So you have at least a little bit of structure, but I could see where you'd be a little uneasy with not having like a set schedule.
Right.
Like there's a little anxiety with that, which is totally understandable, especially since you're going through a lot of changes right now. So when you say you've been in a more like depressed mood, what are you feeling on a day-to-day basis? Is it worse on certain days? Is it pretty like the same feeling every day?
It's been getting progressively better, I would say. I have been able to, so like I downloaded Bumble again, which is where I met my boyfriend before, and you know, like that's like a kind of simple distraction. So like I've been like talking to new people, which like is distracting, but at the same time like it also kind of contributes to the sadness because like obviously I'm not over my ex yet, but it's still just something to like kind of keep my mind going so that like, you know, I can focus on talking to them rather than talking to him. So I mean that's been like kind of helpful. And like one of the people that I actually have been talking to just this week, like, we seem to connect really well. But I'm just like worried about like jumping into something else when I'm not obviously like over my past situation. So.
Yeah, you just kind of want to make sure that you're ready for something new. Yeah. So what exactly like when you so like what is your like day kind of look like? Like I know the whole work thing is a little messy right now, but like say you went to work, came home, like do you go to your room and you're by yourself? Do you make plans with friends? Like are you trying to keep busy or are you like in a state of mind where you just kind of want to be by yourself?
A mix of both. So like right now it's difficult because my day typically goes from like 8 in the morning to like midnight because I go to work and then I'll go to the home case and then I'll go to graduate school and I'm not home at all. Like I could just go from one to the next. So like even finding time to like do something as simple as eating is difficult just because like I'm constantly moving. So like that's been a struggle, and then that's pretty much like my day throughout the entire week. The only day that like it's not looking like that is Thursday. Like Thursday I get done at 3, but every other day like it's constant back to back.
Yeah, it's pretty. You just keep going.
Yeah.
I just had a question. I lost my train of thought. Give me a second. So you were saying it was getting progressively better. Like, do you have friends that you feel comfortable talking to about these things, or is it? Do you kind of let it build up until you're like, okay, like I need. Like, do you have a good like support system? I guess is what I'm asking.
So like I have a really close relationship with my mom and my sister, so
That's good.
like they're definitely helpful, but I feel like not as helpful as I would like them to be. Like I just don't feel like they take me seriously enough when like I tell them how I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, you know, my mom is kind of just like get over it already, like that kind of attitude. Like she's still like supportive, but at the same time she's like, you know, it wasn't good for you, so like why do you even like care this much? And like my sister, like there's times where I just want her to like come home and spend time with me just so I'm not like alone with my thoughts, but she wants to be out partying with her friends. So like I can't prevent her from doing that, but it's just like difficult. And then my best friend just moved to Iowa a couple months ago. So like she's obviously like not here, and like my other best friend only lives 4 houses down from me, but she's like really busy. She also has like a really busy schedule, so I don't get to see her often either. So.
Okay, well, your best friend moving to Iowa is also a really big change.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
adjust to. Yeah, you definitely have a lot going on all at once. Do you have certain things that you would do to kind of cope with these things, or are you kind of stuck when you get in your head? Do you have ways of getting out of it, or are you like once you're in your head, you're in your head?
A little bit of both. Because there's some things like obviously like when you have feelings for someone and you see something maybe you don't want to see, like you get like that like anxious feeling and you get that like panicky feeling. And like trying to like de-escalate myself from like that can be challenging at some points. I feel like I've gone to bed with like significant anxiety like pretty frequently throughout like the last couple weeks. So like that's been a struggle. But I try very hard to not get consumed by it. I try to do things or think a certain way to like get myself on like in a better mindset, just because like I'm very like emotionally aware, and I feel like I have the right skills that I can use. It's just a matter of like putting them into like practice. That's like difficult for me sometimes.
Yeah. Now, I know you said you have a really busy schedule, but is there a certain time that you set aside just to take care of you ever? Like, is there something that you enjoy doing? Do you have any hobbies?
I really like reading, and I paint as well. But like painting is like pretty time consuming, and like I'm a perfectionist, so like it's not like I'm gonna like, you know, I have free 30 minutes, like let me go paint, like, you know, it doesn't really work that way. But it's usually like I'll watch like a show for like a half an hour, and like that's helpful. But other than that, like not really. So it like really depends.
Okay. So now your boyfriend, circling back to him for a second, you met through Bumble now. 14 months is a pretty significant amount of time.
Right.
Do you guys have mutual friends still?
No. He honestly, like, he met, like, one of my friends, to be honest, and I've never met any of his friends. Well, that's a lie. I met one of his friends once, but he lived over an hour away, so, and his best friend lives an hour away from him, so, like, we just never like were able to get a time where we could like all meet, because I can only see him on weekends, and like our weekends were kind of just dedicated to each other for the most part.
Yeah.
So it just like kind of never happened that way.
Okay, so most of the time you were with him, it was just the two of you.
Yeah.
So this constant case with work, is it in a home setting?
So the current case that I have is in a home setting, and I like get very uncomfortable being in like environments that aren't like my own. Then that's just in general. So when it's like I have to act professional in a setting that I'm totally uncomfortable in, and like it's not like sometimes it's not always like a cleanly environment. Like I get really anxious. So like it's been difficult because like with my prior job, like they didn't make us do home cases, whereas like this place does. They pay a lot more for them, but like it's I don't know. So it's like that's also an adjustment. Like that alone made me like contemplate taking the job, even though it was like $11 more an hour than I'm making now.
Okay,
So
wow,
yeah. So you could see how I would want to, but like the anxiety that comes along with it. It's like, and this job also does like toileting.
So that's definitely different.
Yeah. So I
Something to definitely have to adjust to.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of adjustment that's going to take place in the next couple months. But the case that you have now, how often have you been there, or have you not been there?
I've only been there twice, and the times that I've been there, the behavior specialist on the case was with me. So this Wednesday I go back by myself, and I'm like terrified because like he pretty much was the one to like help me redirect the kid. Like he wanted to like leave the room, and he would be the one to be able to like effectively redirect him. And like obviously I have like experience with this kind of work, but I always just feel uncomfortable like in a client's home.
Yeah.
Because like their parents are there, like I don't know, just a different kind of pressure than like in a school setting, I feel like. So it's just like a weird adjustment.
Yeah, it's a different atmosphere, and it's definitely difficult being in somebody's home. Everything. So since you've been progressively getting better, do you think time is the main thing that's helped you, or like since about a month has gone by since like the big thing happened, do you think just because time keeps going by you're getting better, or how do I word this? Or is something you're doing like effectively getting you to a better place?
I think it's more so just like about my ability to like accept. Because I feel like I have a tendency to try to hold on to things longer than I need to. That's been like a pattern for me. Like I was in an 8-year relationship that should not have lasted 8 years whatsoever. Shouldn't have even started to begin with, if I'm being honest. So clearly I have some difficulty like being able to say like when enough is enough. So like being able to like mentally accept the reality for what it is and just try to start moving forward, because I feel like my ability to move forward probably isn't that like difficult. It's actually my ability to like get to the point where I say like, okay, this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, yeah, it does. I get what you're saying. So basically, right now you're going through a lot of change, and it's uncomfortable, it's new, you don't really know exactly. But the job, like, you're still getting used to it. And it's really new because you're about to go out by yourself for the first time. And you obviously have a bunch of other stuff going on.
Yeah.
In your head that I'm pretty sure it's probably hard to juggle with everything else that you have going on, and going to a new job and trying to figure out everything with that. I'm sorry to hear about all of this stuff that's going on. I'm sure it's difficult, especially when you're by yourself and your sister doesn't come home to hang out with you.
Yeah.
But it seems that you're in the acceptance phase of everything that's going on, and from there, it'll only get better. Especially like time is really helpful. Setting time aside for yourself is very helpful to make sure you're keeping up with taking care of you, because that's the most important thing.
Right.
The 14-month long relationship ending is difficult, but it seems like you're doing well with it, and it seems like you guys were nice to each other about it, if I'm understanding exactly.
Yeah.
Your new job, with time, you'll understand it more. Is there anything underlying that you think is going to stop you from getting even better than you are now, or is it just kind of the waiting game that?
I mean, it would literally just be like my own. I mean, I pretty much have all the power and control here, and I know that. So.
Well, it's good that you're self-aware of that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm pretty like emotionally aware when it comes to most things. So like I said, I know what I need to do. It's just a matter of like sticking to what I need to do. Because there's times where like I want to text him and like tell him I want to see him. He's actually a lot better with that than I am, because he'll be able to say like that's a bad idea, whereas I'm like let's do it anyway.
Yeah.
Which is what has like really like been my enemy in the past. Is like my previous relationship was very like, okay, yeah, let's do it, and then we would see each other, and then we would get re-involved for however X amount of time longer than we should have. So like at least he's like putting his foot down, which is helpful, because that way like I can't indulge in bad behavior. So
yeah, it's definitely helpful when like it seems like he has even your best interest.
Oh yeah, he does.
At heart.
That's why he's a great person.
Which
he is.
Yeah. But no, that's good, because there's no starting from scratch as an option with the whole breakup thing. So with all of the change and all of the adjustments that are happening right now, I think it would be best to maybe see each other once a week if you feel like this went well and you're comfortable with me talking to me and everything. Does that seem like something like once a week, or do you think you need more?
No, I think that would be fine.
It's good?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can set that up as we go out. Is there anything else you want to mention before we end our session?
No, I think that's everything.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it was very nice meeting you.
You as well.
And I'll walk you out and we can get your next session set up, okay?
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.